boys and girls, welcome back to art. This will be our last point of what we're doing, and then we put it together, and you can glue your spaceship up here at the top when you're done after this is dried and cut out. So we are looking at the artist Jen Stark, who we said lived in California. She's really big on color and using black and white patterns, and we're using this in the bottom of our spaceship to create the fire and flames that are coming out of our spaceship. So hopefully you have gotten a chance to follow the other two videos that we were doing, and we created our black and white patterns here, and we left 3 spaces or however many spaces you might have left to use for paints. And so for you boys and girls at home, I'm asking that you use watercolors. If you don't have watercolors, you may use crayons to do the same concept, or you can use crayons. I wouldn't really use markers because it's a little bit harder to kind of blend those colors in, but what you're going to use is our color wheel, and I will put one on there again for you guys. And you're using colors that are next to each other, and in this case we can do the same thing even here with our watercolors, and we're not going to use the brown and the black right now, but you're going to use these other colors of the rainbow. And so when you have your crayons, they have the bottom of them, and there's like 12 colors that you can use, and you just make sure that they're next to each other. So for example, I can use red and orange, but also remember purple's over here, and it would come back over here like a circle, so kind of back. We're excluding the brown and the black. So like I can use orange with yellow, or I can use green with yellow, but I can't use yellow with my purple over here. So you're going to use colors that are next to each other. So if you don't have a color wheel, then you can use your watercolors as your example, but I am going to post a color wheel onto your folder for the week. So this is watercolors. You're going to be using water to actually make the paint work. That's part of your medium, and you're going to hold your paintbrush down here so that you're holding it like a pencil. If you hold it back here, boys and girls, you don't have very much control over it, and we want to make sure, especially since we're working in very small areas and we want to stay inside the lines, that we are holding I actually moved down a little bit further, that we're using it kind of close to the edge, so that way you have more control. So I'm going to pick a color, not brown or black, to start on my painting my first piece right here. So I'm just going to pick green. And remember, after I do green, I can only use a color that is next to it. So I can either go with my yellow, or I can go towards my cool colors with my blue. And notice I keep getting paint because I don't want to add a lot of water to this. I don't want it to look watered down. Now, I did use watercolor paper or a nice art paper. That will definitely help. But if you use too much water and you see it pulling up and you have a puddle of water, you're going to notice that your paper just kind of seems to get with the little fibers coming off, and we don't want that. So I'm not going to paint all of this green, but notice I'm holding it down here so that I have more control. Now I'm going to wash off my brush, and I'm brushing the bottom of the cup so that I can really get that paint out of there and get it clean, so that I have a nice clean brush when I go into my next one. I'm going to go with my blue. It's next to my green, and I'm going to again get lots of paint on my brush so that I don't have as much water. I want more color so that my colors are really bold and vibrant. So now I'm going to come in, and I'm going to notice I overlapped my colors here, and you'll know, and come back in a minute maybe with some more of my green, and I'm going to paint down, and I'm trying to stay in the lines so that I'm not going into my black and white pattern. Now, one of the things I like to do after I've painted and I've overlapped those colors, notice I didn't draw a line across, is I like to go back to my other color, my first color, and get a little bit of that so that I can kind of help blend these colors together. You can find a different way if that works best for you, boys and girls, but I like to do it where I blend in those colors, creating that blue-green. So we're making our intermediate colors in there. So I'm gonna leave that, and then I'm gonna get some of I'm gonna add a little more green to it and pull it kind of up so that I blend in those colors. And like I said, if you have a different way you want to do it, by all means try it. I'm just showing you some of the ways that I show the kids in here to do it. Now I'm going to wash off my brush, and you can see that I have green, green, and blue. And now I also want to add maybe a little bit of purple, since purple is next to the blue. And I'm going to come in, and again, I'm going to overlap those colors, and I'm going to try to blend them in. I want to add a little more purple to mine, kind of creating that blue violet color with my blue in here. And again, I'm going to take that other color so that I can kind of blend those in some, and I'm going to pull it into my color here. And then you can just kind of take some of that extra paint and move it on up to your painting, blending in those colors. So I'm going to do that with all of my painting, boys and girls. I am not going to paint the black and white pattern. We are going to leave that black and white. But see, now you've got this nice gradient color of just blending it in instead of having just a line and this is green and this is blue. We don't want that. I want to see you blending in your colors here, boys and girls. Now I'm going to choose a different group of colors. I'm actually going to start with my warm colors, and I'm going to use yellow, and I'm going to get some paint on there, and I'm actually going to move up. So I'm going to start with my yellow down here, and again, I have my hand down far on my paintbrush. The reason I do this is that I have a little bit better control, and I'm not creating a line, boys and girls, because I don't want to see, oh, this is my yellow section and this is my orange section. I want to see you blending in those colors together, boys and girls. So I'm creating and taking some of that paint and spreading it out. Notice I haven't had to go back because I got a lot of paint on my brush, but not as much water. So if you see your brush is dry and thirsty, you do need to make sure you put some water in there and get some paint. I'm washing off my brush again, and then I'm going to go actually towards my warm colors here so that it stands out and kind of emphasizes the colors from the cool colors that I've already used. So I'm getting a lot of paint on my brush, and I'm actually going to start up here so that the darker color comes in later, and that when I'm coming down, I'm actually getting some of that paint off, and that so when I come into my yellow, it's not as bright as it is when it's up here. So I'm going to pull some of that out, and you can see that I'm just kind of spreading some of that out because I had a lot of paint up here. And again, I'm going to do the same thing up here, but I'm hoping that as I am painting that my brush is actually kind of losing some of that paint, so that by the time I get down to yellow, it's actually thinning out so that it comes out more of a yellow orange and not so bright in my orange color. But remember, I'm going to take, after I've used those colors, and I'm going to add a little bit of yellow in there. If you have a different way that you like to do it, boys and girls, try it. You might have a better way of blending colors. This is how I've learned to show kids, because they sometimes have a hard time getting those colors to blend together. So I am just using a way that I felt works with the kiddos. And so I'm going to come in and I'm going to bring some of that orange and that yellow up together so that they blend in together, and I'm creating that intermediate color of yellow orange. So I'm just going to bring some of that yellow up and some of my orange down. So go ahead and paint your picture, boys and girls, and then we are going to let them dry. And then when you're done painting, don't forget to paint this last one. You're going to cut out your piece, boys and girls, and then you can glue your spaceship on the top and have it where it's the flame coming out. So I hope you have fun with this, boys and girls. And next week is Fine Arts Night, and it's from 4:45 to 5:45. It's going to be a drive-through at Fisher. And so I would like to see you guys there and come and check out the art materials. And have a great week, boys and girls. Bye.